It's a good day to you this day, dear Kaima. How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing our civilization to communicate to you through this particular window and in this particular manner on this day. Each and every time, once again, you allow our civilization to communicate with you in this way, it affords us an opportunity to see through each and every one of you that many more ways that the infinite has of expressing itself within creation, so we thank you for this gift of expansion. We would like to begin this transmission with the following idea. We have for quite some time said that it is important for each and every one of you now in this day and age upon your planet, this transformational time, to make sure that the things that you are choosing with your free will are those things and only those things that are aligned with what you believe to be your truth, your joy, your excitement, your love, your creativity, and so forth. This is never more important than now. As things accelerate, you must understand that we are not only talking about the idea of making sure that you take action on those things that are aligned with your truth, specifically the opportunities that come to you, the opportunities that are available to you in terms of your jobs, your careers, your work, or any particular thing you might choose to do at any given moment. Not only those things, not only that you choose those things only representative of your joy, but also, very important, which many of you tend to forget. I'm giving you a break by saying you tend to forget it, since you all know that you choose to forget these things. But the idea really is that the other thing to remember, to remind yourself of constantly in this day and age of choosing to be aligned with yourself, with your truth, is the idea of also behavior, attitude, perspective, so that in every endeavor, no matter what it is that may appear to be, I say appear to be happening in your life, that you will give yourself the chance, give yourself the opportunity to truly understand that if you have chosen to function in an aligned fashion, then you will respond to every single situation in your life in a positive way that is representative of the alignment you say you believe you are choosing, and no longer allow yourself to succumb to the temptation to go back into negative attitudes, negative behavior, complaints, victimization, and all the other manifestations of not believing that you are really creating your reality, not believing that you have chosen the idea of positive truth and alignment within yourself. Do not fall back into that modality, for it does not serve you to be aligned with your harmony, with your core, with your true self, with your natural being. So keep in mind, every day, in every way that you possibly can, at every moment, that whatever it is that happens is only an opportunity, without meaning at first, neutral, that you can then supply with meaning, and whatever kind of meaning you supply will determine the effect you get, will determine the quality of the experience that issues from that point forward, so that you give yourself a moment of pause to look at every situation, not react in the same old way, not complain, not victimize yourself, not think that something is wrong with your life, but to take a moment to understand that nothing happens without a reason, even if only to give yourself the opportunity to test yourself and see if you really believe that you have changed, if you really believe you are different, by showing that you are different in your attitude and your behavior toward the things that happen in your life, knowing that if you give them a positive meaning for yourself, regardless of whether or not you perceive objectively that someone may or may not be co-creating this without a positive intention, doesn't matter. If you give it a positive reason for yourself that you are interacting with this, that you are observing this, that you are aware that this situation occurs, that it is there for you for a positive reason, then you will get the positive result, no matter what anyone else's intention is, no matter what anyone else gets out of it. The meaning you put into it is the effect you will get out of it. So watch your behavior, watch your attitudes, watch your body language, watch what you say you believe to be true, and stick to that. I urge you strongly to do so. And this ties strongly into also the ideas of clarity, communication, discernment, definition. Communication in this day and age now, within yourself and outside yourself. What it is you think, how it is you view information that comes to you, is of paramount importance to allow yourself to understand. No longer can you function with the idea of information that does not seem to be in balance with yourself, with your truth. No longer can you rely upon the idea of the validity of what you would call rumor and hearsay, but allow yourself the opportunity to research, to discover, to investigate, to explore, to know from whence information comes, to know whether or not it really serves you, or to know whether it is simply part and parcel of other individuals' agendas that may have nothing to do with the alignment of your own truth. Take the time, find out, always allow yourself to access the information in its purest state. For again, we remind you, there are no secrets in this day and age, and all you have to do is be bold enough to allow yourself to inquire, to research, to discover, to explore, to find out from whence information comes, and access your own intuition, your own knowing self, to allow the truth within you to show you what needs to resonate with your reality and what does not. What you really need to take to heart and what you don't. What you really need to absorb as vital information and what data in that sense is extraneous for your life. I would remind you thus in this way, perhaps, that which you think or feel is not so until you know that your information derives, of course, strictly from a single source. Allow yourself to refine. Allow yourself to narrow down. And now allow yourself also to let go of that which does not belong, anything extraneous in your reality, anything not of the vibration of your dreams, of your visions, of your truth. It is so important now on your planet that you begin to function this way naturally. If you even wish to say it, habitually. That your first habit, if you're going to have any habit at all, will always be toward the positive understanding rather than the negative. If you're going to have a habit, we suggest you choose that modality. It will make all the difference in your world. We are not talking about the idea of ignoring or denying when something may be created by others or within yourself from negative ideas. We are not talking about glossing over, but we are talking about knowing, seeing, discerning what is the mechanism foundationally underlying any particular choice or act, and being in tune with your own definitions of truth to know how you relate to that idea, to that situation, to that circumstance, taking from that circumstance only those ideas and understandings that truly serve you in a positive, creative, and constructive way, giving only those positive ideas to that circumstance for your own reality path, so that you are divesting yourself of any, as you say, luggage which does not belong to you, that you do not need to haul around, that weighs you down. This is now the age of streamlining, the age of only choosing those attitudes, behaviors, informational sources, and opportunities that really are defined by your inner truth, who you know yourself to be, who you trust yourself to be, who you intuit yourself to be. That is all about believing in yourself, believing that you are created in the image of creation, that you are an infinite creator, creating your reality as you see fit, that you have been given this from creation through the unconditional love of creation to have the capability of doing so and to see the results that are the results, the reflections of what you deem to be most true, what you deem to hold most high. It is in your hands. It is in your hearts. It is in your minds. It is in your very attitudes, thoughts, words, and deeds. Refine and streamline yourselves to be the reality you prefer to be the person you prefer to be, so you can have the reality that is reflective of that person. This is the idea sent from that aspect of our reality, of also the infinite, that can euphemistically be called the preparer of the way. This is the idea, the attitude, the approach of the preparer of the way. The preparer of the way simply being that energy, that perspective within you, within your souls, within your spirits, within your hearts, within your minds, within your bodies, that knows who it is and gives him or herself no other choice to choose from but the things that are in alignment with who you know yourself to be. No other choice. No other choice. No other choice. We thank you for allowing us to remind you, to reflect to you these notions, these ideas in this way at this time. And we remind you, once again also, hand in hand with this, that this is not simply what you would call a pleasant-sounding philosophy. This is physics. This is how your reality works. What you put out is what you get back. Everything is vibration of energy. The frequency you give off is the reality you experience. Plain and simple. That's the law. Try to break it. You can't. What you put out is what you get back. So I would urge you, not tell you, because I cannot do that. I cannot force you. I can only urge you to believe that when you are only exhibiting the frequencies of your own true self, I guarantee you 100% you will only get a reality reflective of that certainty and conviction. I believe that's your wake-up call. All things being synchronous. Thus, once again, we thank you for the opportunity to remind you of what you already know within your hearts. And in return for the gift that you are now giving our civilization and allowing us to communicate through this window in this way, I ask, in what way may I and my world be of service to you? You, and then you. Male, number 2, do you know who you are? All right, male. Number 3, do you know who you are? All right, number 1, good day. You have lifetimes in that realm, in that reality, in that domain, in that era, in that area of your planet, and are familiar with the arts and crafts of what you would call that culture on your planet. Yes, you did not necessarily involve yourself directly in the one that you perceive within that museum, but you are familiar with the creation of those arts. Yes.
Okay, so
they do not need to ask me that.
I know. I just wanted. I guess I needed to verify for myself.
Then go right ahead and do so. You don't need me.
You're right. I've been doing transcendental meditation recently, as we discussed.
Yes.
And I see purple lights with gold shapes that move.
Yes.
And
this is indicative of stretching your senses to be able to perceive into high dimensional realms, higher frequencies of energy, consciousness expression, high perception of spirit interacting in the electromagnetic field, intersecting between your physical reality and causal plane realities. Many of you who will allow yourselves the experience of meditative arts will begin to see that your senses can extend far beyond the idea of what you typically call the physical realm, the physical domain, and will begin to perceive energies that were heretofore invisible to your senses. Yes. They, in terms of their coloration, will usually be symbolic of the kind of levels, the kind of realms, the kind of frequencies that the colors are representative of, in terms of the spectrum, as you would call it, and the archetypal symbolism as it may be represented through your mind, or interpreted or translated through your mentality. Thus the violet, the purple, in that sense, being a high spiritual energy, and the gold being indicative to some degree of several things within you. The recognition of the source of life and light, that which is archetypally symbolized by your central sun, but also is a symbol for the idea of the Creator Spirit, and has been exemplified in many cultures on your planet historically. You understand?
Yes. I was talking in my abduction support group meeting with some people about the fact that they're able to see visions of extraterrestrials and other things. And somebody said, the person who taught me TM said that with TM, it's great for relieving stress, but not for seeing visions in that sense of other entities.
But it may trigger other things within you that do give you those capabilities. It is not necessarily that that discipline in and of itself is designed for that result. But the idea is that it is a cascade modality. And that means it can act as a catalyst and trigger other modalities within you that are to some degree representative of the direction you need to go. So it may not be that what you are seeing is a direct result of your transcendental meditative techniques, but it may be amplifying or triggering other energies within you that do give you that capability. You understand?
Okay, so I should keep following my path in that way.
That's up to you, is it not?
Yes, I enjoy it.
Oh, all right. Then I would suggest that you keep doing it until you don't enjoy it anymore.
I noticed that when I meditate sometimes that I feel as if my heart is accelerating.
Yes. Why does your voice raise at the end of all these things as if these were questions instead of statements?
Well, it's...
Where is your uncertainty coming from?
Well, I guess because I assume that it's supposed to be a calming effect when you meditate, and the fact that it's accelerating is a little disconcerting.
Oh, I see. So?
And what's interesting is I have this chair that I got a few years ago. It's a meditation chair. It's got...
Stop. Do you remember the aphorism in that sense that we shared with you, the idea, the axiom that we shared with you, if at first you don't succeed, redefine success? You remember that?
Yeah.
The idea also is that if you assume one thing and something else occurs, maybe it tells you that you need to assume something else.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't necessarily that you are doing something wrong, which is obviously your first choice to believe. It is not that it cannot be calming, but at the same time, because it may act like a cascade effect and trigger other things, catalyze other things, it can perhaps be putting you in touch with the fact that you are accelerating your energy on other levels, and that may be more the direction you prefer to go. So you may be using the meditation to get into a balanced, centered state, but then the effect that comes from it may be the effect that is relevant to what it is you actually prefer, and that is the idea of upgrading and accelerating your energy instead of calming it down. You understand?
Yeah.
Also, for you, specifically, you may also be feeling the idea that the acceleration of your heart may be an indication for you that there are, in your meditation, in the state you put yourself in, there are opportunities coming up where you are beginning to see more of your own energy so that you can integrate it. Things that may have been suppressed within you for quite some time may be coming to the surface because of the meditation, and it may be those things that are coming into your awareness that are allowing you to experience those extra things that you were heretofore unaware of as extra energy. That may be letting you feel that you are racing a bit, speeding up a bit, to let you know there are more things here than you may be aware of that you need to look at. That's another way to look at it. But the idea is, instead of just assuming it's supposed to be this way and it's not, and thinking that something is wrong, the idea is to engage your imagination and your creativity and go with what is. Instead of denying what is, go with what is, and let your imagination guide you in coming up with these kinds of ideas as to what is could mean for you. You understand?
Uh-huh.
Does this make sense to you?
It does. And regarding this chair that I have,
Yes.
It's got copper wire grid all along it, and
Yes.
a copper bucket, and a generator crystal with copper wiring.
Yes.
And when I sit in it, I feel like I'm totally blasting off and accelerating.
All right, and so?
And it's interesting because this my neighbor's cat has been hanging out at my place lately.
Hanging out.
Yeah. And it it just gravitated to this chair today and fell asleep on it into this deep sleep. And I'm wondering if
You are what?
I'm
Yes.
I'm just marveling at the effects that this chair is having.
All right.
And I just wanted to share that with you.
Why, thank you. And of course, again, as we have discussed many times, though there, of course, can always be more specific symbolism, but in general, the symbolism of the cat on your planet is
Higher dimensionality.
that which sees
other dimensions.
In other dimensions, yes.
That's what it was a good reflection for me today to see.
Thank you.
And lastly, I wanted to share with you, I came up with the title for my new screenplay.
Oh, all right.
Discussed, and it's called Gray Matter.
All right.
And I'm curious about the Greys that I'm dealing with. I know that there are some factions of Greys living underground and others that are on their craft. Are the ones that I'm dealing with underground or on a craft?
No comment.
And have I been having military abductions at all?
No comment.
And can you discuss the scoop mark that I just discovered on my cap?
No comment. 3 in a row. How
Three in a
about
row.
that? Later. All right?
Thank you.
Number 2. And good day to you.
Good day, Bashar. I'm want your comments on a technology I've come across.
A technology.
Yes.
Such as?
This was, you'd call it blood cleansing.
Yes.
And
by what methodology?
And it was through microcurrents that go through the blood and travel arteries, in the fresh blood. And,
Yes.
And they have the objective of cleansing the blood of bacteria, viruses, things like that. And so that on a dark field microscope, they would the blood would look pretty clean with the
Yes.
with the
This technology, in the proper utilization, can achieve those effects, but it remains to be seen as to whether or not any particular individuals on your planet may be utilizing this technology correctly in order to do that. It does not require much power, that is certain. And along with the idea of the applications of the correct kinds of magnetic fields made out of the idea magnets of certain elemental combinations, not all magnets, but certain elemental combinations, such as the ideas you call neodymium and so forth, that are aligned with proper polarization. These magnetic applications can also allow the molecular structure and the electromagnetic structure of the blood to be such so that it will not allow for any detrimental effects to be able to exist within its medium. So application of electrical currents and application of magnetic currents can be cleansing and aligning to the blood, yes, but you have to make sure that it is being done correctly.
Do you feel that the dark field microscope analyzing blood is a pretty good measure then of how the blood is cleaning up?
It is, in our estimation, about what you would call 75% effective.
Mm-hmm. I have another question,
yes.
and that is, about 6 months ago, we were discussing the use of the pendulum,
yes.
and you expressed your view by throwing the pendulums away.
Yes.
Okay. And,
for the individuals we were talking to, the idea is that there was too much reliance on the object and not enough reliance on their own intuition.
Exactly. So I got that message loud and clear. And so I've been traveling a path here where I'm trying to diminish my reliance on the pendulum, but at the same time, I've been really increasing my communication with my higher self.
Oh, I thank you.
And trying to develop my...
And developing.
Yeah, develop my intuitive capabilities.
All right, thank you.
And that's moving along, but I'm still at a point where at the grocery store, when I analyze the quality of fruit and vegetables and things like that,
yes.
I need it to discern whether there is any pesticide. Grocers don't seem to have that level of intuition, nor do they. So
it does not require intuition if they have the knowledge.
Yes, but I haven't found any that really know that.
Then change your grocer.
Well,
do not go, well, change your grocer.
Yes.
You can find individuals who are aligned with that knowledge, yes. and who do know whether or not the things that they grow have been affected by what you would call toxins. They do exist. You can find them. Therefore, the simple path, the path of least resistance, would be to do so, instead of making it mysterious.
Yes. I go to health food stores and buy organic fruits, but for apples, for example,
yes.
I like to go to a regular supermarket.
Why? Why?
Less expensive.
Well, you are saying you're making a choice.
Yes.
Less expensive in what terms? Less expensive to your body? No, I think not. More expensive to your body if you say that spending a few pennies here and there is not worth the idea of cleanliness in your body. Then you are making the choice as to what kind of expense you are willing to pay. Plain and simple.
Okay. Right now,
yes.
So I have a lot of Scotch blood in me, and
are you saying that you drank a lot of Scotch?
And
is that what you are saying?
I'm saying that I can take my pendulum and determine whether there's pesticides there, and so I can freely go to a supermarket.
You will find that while this can be done, in about 99.9% of the cases of what would exist in your typical supermarkets at this time, there will be toxins present. It is highly unlikely that you will find organic material in any of what you would call your mainstream outlets at this time on your planet.
But the main point is
yes.
that I'm still using my pendulum a bit, and I haven't weaned myself quite.
That's up to you. All you have to do is remember that it's all happening within you anyway. Even if you use the pendulum, it is still being created within you, but it is being projected outside you. You don't need the extra step. But that's up to you, yes. As we have said, we will never invalidate any process any of you believe you need, because that is part of the beauty of your creativity. At the same time, we simply once again remind you that process is simply the amount of time that you believe, for whatever reason, you need to take before you finally give yourself permission to see the obvious. But that's up to you.
I'm not quite there.
Well, you are where you are. It is not important that you have to be there. It's important that you need to be here. That's what's important. So, you don't have to measure yourself or devalue yourself because you have not expressed a certain modality. The idea is to just be at home with what you are and decide at any given moment if what you are is what you prefer to be. If you decide yes, continue. If you decide no, change it. That's all there is to it. Does that help you?
Yes. Very good.
Thank you. Number 3. And to you, good day.
Glad to have you here.
I am not there, but thank you for the
Well, your consciousness is here. Okay. Let me just pick up a little bit on Camp's comment here. There are several of us who are looking at these low current devices to clean the blood, etc.
Yes.
And specifically, I have been looking at a device that a gentleman by the name of Bob Beck talked about at the National Health Federation meeting in Pasadena recently. Can you tell me whether his device and approach is good, or can you tell me
more specifically the device to which you are referring?
Okay, effectively, it's a little electrical device that puts out a small voltage and frequency, and you attach that.
What frequency? What voltage?
Okay, I don't know that. I think I have. What is it?
4 cycles per second.
4 pulses, yeah, okay. Okay, Cam says 4. I don't know that. I have some literature, but I don't know.
All right. Go to the source, as we instructed already. Find out.
As to what the frequency is and
yes,
the voltage?
and the voltage, yes.
And
this will be paramount.
And that will determine whether it's useful or not.
In many ways, yes, and also whether or not it is setting up the appropriate resonance within the blood with regard to its own electromagnetic potentiality, yes. These things need to be gauged. These things need to be understood. These things need to be experienced and seen, yes.
Okay.
The idea, however, is that approximately between 3 to 10 hertz will be at least the appropriate range. So it's quite possible that it could be functioning appropriately.
Okay.
It's just that there are other factors that need to be taken into account, and other factors that are indicative of the fact that there is other research you need to do to make sure everything is in harmony, in sympathetic harmonic resonance with every other factor.
Okay, let me read up on that, and I'll talk to you some other time.
And also, of course, you can gauge by effect. You can measure the blood before and measure the blood after and see what the effect is, and fine-tune the calibrations based on the effect. You can also do that experimentally.
Okay, and by measure with the black field microscope that Cam was talking about, be a good technique for doing that?
As we have said, it is about 75% effective. It needs to be refined and enhanced and built upon and altered to some degree in order to be more effective.
Is there a better technique available?
There is, at this time, various techniques on the part of certain individuals with regard to the application of magnetic fields to the system that can have a very aligning effect to within what you would call 90 to 99% effectiveness, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
These are, again, low field magnets that have been polarized to be unipolar, placed upon the body in the appropriate way and made out of the appropriate materials. They will be very effective in aligning and cleansing the system and rearranging the molecular structure of the bloodstream, yes.
Okay. Okay, let me ask the question that I really wanted to ask you.
Oh, all right.
I have lately been studying a lot the material that's presented by Dr. Michael Rice. And
Define.
He has an institute in Heartland, Missouri,
Yes.
and the material deals a lot with reality therapy.
Reality therapy.
And forgiveness. A
Yes.
key in his treatment is forgiveness.
Yes, all right.
And I guess my question...
Forgiveness of the self?
Yes, of the self,
right,
rather than
thank
of
you.
others. Yes, that's the key. And he used some worksheets which I feel are excellent.
All right,
And I guess my first question is, to me, he's a very enlightened being, and that working his processes will help me become a more loving human being and grow in consciousness. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yes.
Okay. And I wanted to ask one specific aspect of what he teaches, and that is when our buttons get pushed, when we have an emotional outburst, whether that's
Yes.
anger or hurt or whatever that may
Yes.
be, he states that releasing that anger or hurt, while it may make us feel temporarily better, is not really a healing process. That the healing
Not always, no.
Okay, that really, he describes the fact that really the reason we had such an outburst is that our cup has runneth over.
Yes.
And what we really need to address is the cup and not the outburst.
You have to get to the source of the definition that has been implanted within your belief system matrix that would have allowed you to interpret the circumstance in that kind of an emotional way. Yes. Because emotions are secondary responses to something you already believe to be true. So, while the emotional outburst can be helpful in the healing process as an indicator of where you need to look, many times the emotional outburst in and of itself, is not the idea of being sufficient for the healing process, but only the indicator to put you in touch with the true core issue so that you can then deal with that and begin true healing, yes. If you understand that emotion is always a secondary response to something you have been taught to believe is true, then the emotion can put you in touch with what that definition of reality is and allow you to understand where you bought into that definition, allow you to come up with a definition you prefer to have, and allow you then to replace the old definition with the new one, which will then automatically generate a new emotional response. That is how you can use the emotional outburst to your advantage, yes.
Okay, I appreciate that. That rings very true for me. And his technique then is when you do have an emotional outburst like that,
Yes.
to work his forgiveness process.
That's one idea, yes. But the idea is that while forgiveness is part of the whole process of letting go and giving yourself at least the benefit of the doubt to be able to know that there's something to work with instead of just simply heaping upon yourself more guilt, more fear, and so forth, and making it that much tougher for you to let go, the idea is that the forgiveness of the self is to allow you to know that you are simply obeying whatever you really believe to be true, and let that be all right. Let what is be what it needs to be, so that you can find out what it is, so you can find out how to change it. It's not a denial of the emotion, it's not a denial of the belief, but it is the ability to allow whatever happened in the way it happened to be what needed to happen to put you in touch with what you really need to know to allow yourself to be who you need to be, who you want to be, who you know you are. It always will come back down. No matter how much forgiveness you utilize, it'll always come back down and needs to come back down to the source of the definition you have of reality that would allow you to have reacted in the way you did. Because you have no reactions and no emotional responses if you don't have a definition. You understand?
Yes, I appreciate that.
So?
Change of subject.
Oh, all right.
With my MS condition, I have been using something called the wet cell, which Edgar Casey
Yes.
recommended.
This can be of some benefit, although you may find you may require a regimen of shifting things around, and to some degree also the idea of the magnetic applications will be of some assistance in helping realign your energy fields. And typically speaking, on your planet, what you often refer to as MS is actually not so much what you typically think of as a classic disease, as much as it is the idea of an overload of toxins in your system that need to be flushed.
Okay, and as far as toxins go,
Yes.
these, like, I just had a body harmony treatment that addressed, used a lot of cranial type approaches, and that, from what I can tell, made some copper come forth.
All right.
Is it correct that certain things will turn up as I progress to work in this area?
Yes. Many aspects of what you would call MS are the result of what you would call heavy metal poisonings and other toxins in the system that are not allowing the cellular structures to flush themselves and operate at full capacity electromagnetically, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that help you, then?
Yes, very much so. Thank you very much,
Thank
Bashar.
You, good day.
I'm right next to him, and I have a question that's similar to his.
Oh, all right.
I was diagnosed with leukemia,
Yes.
and we've talked about it before. The latest is that the transfusions that I've been getting, which they refuse to tell me if they're male or female, and it seems like when I get a male transfusion, there is a chemical reaction that
Yes.
I'm allergic to.
They are utilizing in your technology, in what you would call the process of transfusion, many different kinds of chemical factors that are added to the idea of the blood for a variety of reasons that really are not, in your terms, natural or even necessary. But the idea is that in your understanding of technology, these things are utilized and can very often have detrimental, including allergic reactions in the body, yes.
This doctor suggested that I tell all my friends or send postcards to my friends, especially the lady friends, and just tell them what kind of blood I have and see if
I
they're
would
willing.
once again suggest for you that now on your planet the technology is sophisticated enough for the idea of exploring the idea of magnetic resonance to help align this. At the same time, there are also individuals now, though we rarely recommend, we will recommend this, that exist that have understood the idea of various forms of cancers in the body that can be corrected through the body's natural applications, one of which being what is referred to in your society as anti-neoplaston therapy. This is available to you through a particular individual in what you would call your Houston location that goes by the name of Brzezinski. Are you familiar with this?
No, I'm not, but I just ordered one of those machines that Pam and Horst was talking about.
But this is not the same idea that we are discussing with you now.
Would you spell that, please, the Houston source?
In your terminology of language, it would be B-U-R-Z-Y-N-S-K-I, Dr. Brzezinski, in your Houston locale. You will find that there will be information there that may be of assistance to you, even if direct application of that technique cannot help you. You will find information there that can, and it may be more likely that the application utilized, which is absolutely natural, completely non-toxic, may completely eradicate your condition. But in addition, you can also explore what you call the individuals that promote magnetic components that utilize the name Magnetizer as their company logo. Magnetizer. These people understand very specifically how it is that magnets need to be aligned for the rebalancing and clarification of the body, and have quite a degree of success. We are very pleased to see on your planet now that individuals are beginning to understand how to use these things appropriately. And now we are very pleased to be able to refer you to them, because now you have, as a species, begun to evolve to the point where you're beginning to understand energy and the body in its natural way. And this will be of great advantage and service to you to follow this up and see what you can glean from these individuals. You will find again the idea of Magnetizer either in what you would call your Philadelphia area and or certain California areas, such as what you would call your Ojai area, and perhaps other locales as well. But there can be more information given on this, and In short order, we will, in gathering all this information, instruct the channel to provide a list of many of the different sources that we now perceive on your planet are relevant to many of the questions you have regarding health, so that you can simply refer to this list in the future.
Good. Do you think this machine I've ordered will do me any good or any harm?
It may do you some good. It will not necessarily do you harm. But we would suggest that you explore these other things simultaneously.
Yes, I will. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for the suggestion.
You, good day.
Good day, Bashar. I have a question regarding conventional medicine.
Yes.
Are the vaccinations that claim to be the pillars of modern medicine and modern miracles, are they actually causing most of the neurological and immunological diseases in our society today?
No. At one time, they had their place, and from time to time, even what you call allopathic medical procedures can be effective, but it determines its effectiveness based on whether an accurate assessment, what you would call an accurate diagnosis, has been made of the causes of the apparent disease. It is not that the idea of vaccination in and of itself does not work, for it can be effective in certain circumstances. However, at this point in your society's evolution, almost any disease that requires or is treated effectively through vaccination has already been treated. Many of the things that you now think through allopathic medicine require vaccinations do not require vaccinations. The primary cause of disease on your planet at this time, in one way, shape, or form, is all lumped under the concept of toxins. Whether it be what you call drug, whether it be what you call pesticide, whether it be what you call heavy metal poisoning, whether it be what you call other forms of pollution, it is, in general, in your society, the result of high degrees of toxicity that you are experiencing many of the so-called diseases and effects that seem to be diseases that you are experiencing. And of course, let's not forget the amazing amount of stress that exists in your society as well, which in a sense could be said to be a mental toxin.
All vaccinations contain heavy metals. Would that not be one of the primary causes, as you said?
From time to time, yes. Not in all cases, but from time to time. Again, it depends upon exactly to what it is being applied. For sometimes, even though some of these things can contain heavy metals, if it is applied properly, then the idea will not necessarily be detrimental, for everything will be utilized by the body in being recognized how it needs to be used for the appropriate application being given. But if the application is given when it is inappropriate, then yes, the heavy metals that may be contained or connected therein may cause residual side effects as well, yes.
Are you saying that the concept is correct?
When it is appropriately applied, yes, it can be. Though, in many cases, you do not necessarily need to do that. Normal and natural realignment of the system will not allow for the promotion of almost any kind of disease, even if it is the idea connected to what you would call opportunistic organisms. If you simply allow your system to be aligned and balanced as it naturally can be, then almost no opportunistic organism could ever have what you would typically call a foothold anyway.
So relying on the body's innate intelligence to heal itself.
Absolutely. This is one of the things that the anti-neoplaston therapy takes advantage of. It uses what you would call natural enzymes, natural substances within the body, and simply cleanses them, and thus amplifies their ability, when put back in the body, for the body to do what it naturally would normally be able to do were it not so toxic.
Yes, I'm familiar with Dr. Brzezinski. He's being persecuted by the federal government currently.
Of course. You have created a structure in your society that is very, very much afraid of these things being represented in a natural way.
I have another question.
Yes.
Regarding the millennium upcoming.
You're in it. But you mean specifically the year of your 2001?
Yes. Outside of the chiliastic thought forms that believe that something will happen tremendous at this time, and outside of our incessant anniversary-mindedness of large round numbers, is there actually any significance to the year 2000?
2001 is the beginning of your millennium, not 2000. You understand?
Yes. Outside of
Yes, there is significance, because the reason, even though it may not always be interpreted correctly, so to speak, the reason why there is so much recognition of this idea is because there is an innate sensing that for lack of a better term, your civilization evolutionarily is coming to a head. Yes. It is arriving at a point of what you would call critical mass in its consciousness, where it really is crossing a threshold of understanding and awareness that can make a very large difference, not necessarily right at the year 2001. But it has been changing for a little while, and accelerate it will somewhere in between your now time and what you would call your year of 2013. You will find that some of the most significant changes will be represented in your society based on the changes going on in your collective consciousness at this time, because you have reached critical mass and are beginning to understand some very important things, such as you create your reality. The more individuals that really begin to understand this and apply this, it will cause a critical mass acceleration that actually will profoundly change your society, historically speaking, in relatively short order. So since it all centers around this general upcoming shift in millennial time, it is simply lumped into the beginning year of the millennium, which in your counting is 2001.
Regarding the critical mass of awareness that is upcoming.
That is taking place.
That is taking place. Contrary to that, there is also a large synthetic chemical industrial complex that in essence dominates the physical world on this planet and also controls most of the legislation.
Yes. But that is all, again, part and parcel of everything coming to a head. In other words, many times, many things that seem dire may also seem to be becoming more prevalent, but only because you are now willing to get everything out of your system and onto the table. So, in a sense, certain things will appear in your terms worse, while other things will appear better. In other words, you'll see a great amount of polarity. And that's the indicator that everything is coming to a head. Because what you're doing in getting everything out on the table is ultimately deciding what you want your world really to be based upon. And as soon as you really decide that and cross the critical mass threshold, then in an accelerated way, the old structure that no longer belongs to the new decision will collapse very rapidly in due order.
Well, this large dark entity is more or less a manifestation of the lower self-interest of human nature and is more or less a monolith.
But so is your joy.
That's true. My question is, regarding these two forces, it appears that there's in essence a race against time, whether this critical mass of positive energy will overcome the manifestation of our own Armageddon. Is it known?
I will put it this way to you. There are an infinite number of probable Earths. Every single possible scenario will play out. And more precisely, because all time is actually simultaneous, is playing out now. However, whatever each individual's vibratory frequency is the determining factor for what probable future reality Earth they will experience. In that, our civilization is communicating to this probable reality Earth, in other words, in that we are capable of having this conversation, is an indication that you are part and parcel of the probable reality Earth that will allow the positive energy to, shall we say, overbalance the negative. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And all the probable reality Earths that do decide to allow the negative to dominate in their future, we are not having conversations with in the same way at all.
Thank you.
Does that make sense to you?
Very much so.
Does that help you, then?
Yes, it does.
Do you feel the shift?
Indeed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You, good day!
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day!
Bashar, I have not been coming to the, can you hear me? Okay. I haven't been coming to the channelings on a regular basis, and I spoke with my friend Robert last week, and he said that there's a huge dimensional shift going on at this period in time.
And especially through what you would call your third month march, yes.
Yes, and he was specific enough that the dates of February 21st through the 28th are very important.
They can be representative to some degree of an accelerated consciousness threshold, yes, but it will depend upon how individuals utilize it, yes.
Okay, my court date that I've been waiting for 2 years is February the 20th.
All right.
Yes, okay. Now, I saw a friend of mine yesterday. She's leaving to go away, and she helped me with a tremendous balancing in terms of how I relate to men.
All right.
And I've been doing a lot of work with the Senex principle, vis-a-vis the argument I had with you about the poor eternus some months back. Thank you for that energy. At any rate, she said that as depleted as my body is right now, that I've never had more wind behind me.
All right.
And I know that is true.
All
now,
right.
a friend of mine is going to arrange for me to meet with 2 people that are working with Bob Beck. And I can get that information and relate it to you. She has also said that I may fax to Dr. Pappas in Greece. I don't quite know what to do about that. If I start playing old tapes, I get caught up. But
Exactly so.
Yeah, okay, I am going to contact him. I have, on another subject, I have obtained the topical maps of the Santa Fe Baldy area.
All right.
And we can go in by horseback. Now, my horse would be the logical leader.
That will be seen.
Yes. The other horse that I wanted to take in that I call Ellie, it's short for a French name, but it's very much like our friend Ellie, who is always, she's a thoroughbred and always out at the front of the pack. Anyway, Ellie has been taken away, and
what you have just said keys in very strongly to one of the last conversations that you and I had. In terms of
that's a little
something
cryptic.
that I said to you that was critical.
About shifting position.
Shifting locations, yes.
And
as being necessary for understanding different things and seeing in different ways, and for also creating more of an ability for us to communicate more deeply with you.
Yeah, I don't want to do a victim thing, although I started to do that with the owner of the man that still owns her.
All right.
She's dangerous because of self-esteem issues.
All right, but that is a reflection of the danger that you are feeding to yourself. When you say you do not want to do the victim thing, then I would suggest that you choose not to. Completely, totally, and utterly.
Okay, she's my high point of it. She was my high point of excitement. My vet was going to do a blood test on my horse to see if he, although he's a gelding, if he could successfully be bred to her.
But these things we cannot discuss with you because you have not yet ultimately changed location.
Okay, my friend helped me to see the pattern I keep repeating of retreating, playing victim, and doing a sadistic twist.
Yes. Something that obviously you must have been taught to enjoy, but now are beginning to realize is not aligned with your truth.
No, I do believe, and I want to say this gently, I do believe that all men are damaged.
Many individuals on your planet in that sense are, because they have been fed a diet of beliefs that are out of alignment with their natural truth. So yes, you will find that we have said and agree with you on the point of that many times the idea of the majority of the people on your planet, way in excess of what you would call 95%, are in your terms damaged and not really representative of adults.
Okay. I'm going to skip over this because this is personal work for me to do.
Skip away.
Can you suggest, about my horse, could you suggest something that, I mean, he's a friend of mine.
I would be able to if you had shifted locations, but you haven't done that yet.
Shark cartilage?
I would be able to, but you haven't shifted locations.
Well, I was just shown this pattern yesterday.
Do you wish to continue to ignore what we are saying to you?
No, and I would like to be able to do the shift. If I can complete what I started to say, I don't know how to make the change.
You mean you do not know how to shift locations?
Right. I mean, I just got...
Perhaps you are making it more complicated than it is actually meant.
I don't know. A gentleman over here spoke about forgiveness this evening, and...
That is one thing, but there is something simpler to it than that, at least simpler in representation. What it is that we are talking about is a representation that is very simple on the surface, although to make the simple shift in location that we are referring to would be representative of a deep and profound shift within your being if you were to do so. You didn't simply ask us what we meant by that. And now it is too late in this conversation to ask.
You said you would let me intuit it.
But you didn't.
Well, what about what happened yesterday?
That is all well and good in part of your evolution, and we are not saying that you are not making progress. But we are simply focusing on an idea that you haven't yet intuited or picked up on in the way that we meant it. So when you allow yourself more opportunity to play with the notion of what you think we might have meant by shifting locations, and then come back and tell us what you think we meant and address it in a very specific way, then it will be possible for us to address more of the issues that you are bringing up regarding the idea of the animal symbology in your reality. But at this time, we must allow you to continue to ponder it. Perhaps next time, you will exemplify what it is we meant by a shift in location. Thank you. You, and then you. Number 2, do you know who you are? All right. Number 1, good day.
Hello, Bashar.
Do you have the electronic stick?
I do have
All
it. Is
right.
it picking up? Okay. This is my first time here. I'm happy to be here, and I'd like to ask you, one of the things that you were talking about earlier on is knowing who you are and what you're all about.
Yes.
At my ripe old age, I still don't know that.
Ripe old age. Define in your reality what is your age.
Do I have to tell you?
You do not have to. But we are asking that
yes,
you might.
I'm 50. And
you are calling that a ripe old age.
well, for me...
you are a child.
Thank you, Bashar. That's wonderful to hear. What I would like to know, though, is I would like to know how to get to the point where I can find out for myself who I am and where I'm going, for the reason that, to this point, it's causing me a lot of turmoil right now, professionally, to know where I want to go, and
yes.
I'm kind of locked
Are you
in.
ready for more turmoil? But constructive turmoil.
Correct, yes, I guess.
You guess, or you are?
Well, I am. I'm prepared.
Thank you. We will not give it to you if you only guess.
I'm prepared.
Thank you. What you have asked for is one and the same thing. The paradox and the power within the paradox is to understand that the way to get to the point of understanding who you are and what you want is to simply be there. That is the paradox. And what that means is, pragmatically speaking, this. All you have to do is understand a few simple things. That's all. Just a few simple things. But first I will ask you a question.
Yes.
Are you willing to allow it to be simple? Or do you want it to be complicated?
I'd like it to be simple.
Do you believe that it can be simple?
Yes.
You hesitated a little bit. You thought about it a moment.
Simple so far.
Hesitation usually means no.
It hasn't been my experience yet, that's all.
What has the experience of the past got to do with anything in the present? Answer that question.
I don't know.
All right, that's honest enough. I will tell you exactly what your experiences of the past have to do with the present. Nothing. Until you make a connection from the present to the experience you call the past, which isn't really the past at all, but simply another present, side by side and parallel with the one you are experiencing now. Mm-hmm. Is this making some sense to you?
Yes, it is.
All right, let's keep it simple. Everything is vibration. Everything that you call physical reality is the product of a reflection of a particular frequency, of an idea of reality, of an idea of yourself. There is no reality. That's what reality is. There is no reality aside from what you believe you will experience as your most likely reality. That's what physical reality is. It's a mirror. Literally, a mirror. Whatever you put out is what gets reflected back in a multitudinous array of symbols, reflections, archetypes, opportunities, situations, synchronicities, circumstances, people, places, and things. Everything you see around you is not around you. It is in you. But physical reality's definition is that you will experience what is within you as if it is around you. But it's a mirror. That's all. A perfect mirror. Which means there is nothing out there at all. Just like a glass mirror doesn't hold on to any of the image but reflects it all back. There is nothing in the mirror. The image, the reflection that you see, is not actually in the mirror, is it? The light is going to the mirror and it's all coming back, and that's how you see it, because there is nothing left in the glass. Mm-hmm. You understand the analogy?
Yes.
So, physical reality being a perfect mirror means there is nothing out there at all. Zero. Nothing. It's all here. Right here. Right now. So, since it's all about frequency, what you put out is what you get back. Whatever frequency domain you are operating on is determining precisely what kind of reality you are getting back. Then what would be the logical extrapolation? To have a high-powered, high-frequency, high-energy reality, what would you have to be? High energy. Yes?
Yes.
High frequency. High powered. Is that not logical?
Yes.
Well, it is that simple. Just as if you want to see your face smile in the mirror, do you wait for the reflection to smile first?
No.
No. What do you have to do to get a smile in the mirror?
Smile.
You have to smile first. So, if you want a high-powered, high-frequency reality, what does that tell you? You have to be high-powered and high-frequency first. You understand?
Yes.
Now, what does that mean in practical terms? I'll tell you.
Exactly.
Thank you. It means that, are you paying attention?
Yes, I am.
All right, just checking. It means, this is what it means, that at every single moment, you choose only the circumstance, opportunity, and situation that contains the highest amount of excitement, joy, creativity, power, energy, love, etc. And only do you choose that thing no matter what it is. And you act on that thing to the best of your ability to act on it, taking it as far as you can to the best of your ability until such time as you can act on it no further, or until such time as something else brings with it a higher degree of excitement, joy, energy, peace, balance, creativity, love. And then when that comes along, without hesitation, you act on that. No matter what it is, no matter how it looks, no matter that it appears to be unconnected to the thing you did before, because it contains the highest amount of excitement that you at this moment can imagine anything containing, that you at this moment perceive out of all the opportunities available to you that you could choose from, that this thing, no matter what it is, contains the highest excitement, you act on that one before you act on anything else. When you do this by nature, when this is your first inclination, you will have a life of absolute, total, expanded ecstasy every single second of your existence. And it will perpetuate itself, amplify itself, expand itself, accelerate itself, because it is an integrating, expanding energy and idea that will continually spiral upward to increase and accelerate, uplift your energy beyond, beyond, and beyond what you previously imagined was possible. No matter how great it seemed a moment ago, you will always go further. Now that's the simple answer. The question is, are you willing to do that every moment? Are you willing to believe that that's the mechanism that works? Because I guarantee if you act on it, you will see that it works, but you have to be willing to believe it first, or you can't see it. Believing is seeing, not seeing is believing. Believing is seeing. The idea is that you have to understand, in redefining yourself, in redefining your life, anything you call a project, anything you call a career, anything you think you need to achieve, anything you call a goal, are not those things. There is only one goal that all of you have. Only one. One. What could be simpler than that? You only all have one goal. Just one. Every single one of you have the same goal, except it's not the same because each of you is unique. That's the paradox. The goal you all share is all you have to do is be yourself. That's the purpose of your life. Even though you have, incarnationally speaking, hundreds, maybe thousands of other lives, past, present, future, alternate realities, other dimensions, who knows? This you only has one life to live. You will only be this you once. Therefore, the purpose, the goal of this life is to be this you as best as you can, as fully as you can. And what that means is you only act on those things that allow you to feel that you are being the fullest you can be, which usually translates in your physical reality as the feeling and experience you call excitement, joy, creativity, love. You understand?
Yeah.
So every single time you act on those things, you are acknowledging that that's who you are, and you are allowing the mirror of reality to show you, by its reflective capability, that the only reality you can possibly get by operating on that frequency will be the reality that goes hand in hand with that frequency, and no other is possible, in the same way that even though you have in your technology your television set, and know that at any given moment you can receive any number of programs, you will only get the program that your television set is tuned to, and no matter how many other programs may also be there in the airwaves, you will not perceive any of them if you don't change the channel to that frequency. But when you do, that's the reality you get, and no other. Does this make some sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Now, does that answer your question?
You're saying that each day contains a million choices, and you choose the one that provides that highest vibration?
That's all you have to do, because in doing that, no matter what it is, no matter how your mind may try to rationalize and say, well, that makes no sense. How's that going to get me to where I want to go? Where you want to be is here, not where you want to go out there. Where you want to be is here, because when you are here, everything that you need is also here.
So it's all how each thing makes you feel.
Yes.
Thank you.
And when you act on it, you are validating yourself. You are saying, this is true. This is who I am. And your reality will reinforce that and prove that to you over and over and over again with every choice you make, as long as it's in alignment that way. But remember, you always get what you choose. So if you choose a reality definition that is only, by definition, let's say, 50% of who you are vibrationally, you can only get a 50% reality reflection in that sense. It will be 100% reflection, but it will only feel like 50% of your true self. You follow?
Yes.
Physics. 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 It's that simple. It really is. All you have to do is do it, and I guarantee you will see that it works. Does that help you?
Thank you.
Thank you. And the next.
Hello, Bashar.
And you, good day.
Thank you. Referring to a question that a gentleman had just before the other lady about the calendar, the times that we're in, and he was mentioning 2001. I was told that by the Mayan calendar, we are in 1999 now. Is that in fact true? And
in some senses, yes.
Does that change things?
Not really, since we said that there is a relatively large window anyway, and that even within the large window, different individuals are moving at different rates. Some of them will be more accelerated, which is representative of the sped-up version of the calendar, so to speak. Some of them will be moving a little bit more slowly because that's the pace they require, and that will be representative of what you might call the older calendar. Different people will be going by different agendas and different calendars, but all together, most of you are moving up. But there will be small bubbles within the overall bubble that will move at different rates. So it doesn't really much matter. The overall window is the same for all of you.
So if you are moving at a higher vibration, you will be then more in sync with other calendars.
Ultimately, they will all blend anyway. as you change the whole notion of what time is into an understanding of timing rather than being quite so fixated on the compartmentalization of temporal units.
Okay. I have a couple other questions, if I may.
Well, of course you may.
Thank you.
You may also April, June and July.
June and July. I like June, my birthday. Thank you.
All right.
You have mentioned, for the times I've been here, a Council of Nine, which
Yes.
I am not sure about. If you could define for me. Also, when you did mention that, it created a recollection in my mind of a Council of 12 that
Yes.
I thought I was familiar with, but then forgot. Could you clarify that for me as to who the Council of 12 is?
Now understand that there are general and specific definitions of both of these things. There have literally, physically, in history been different kinds of councils based on the vibration of 9, the vibration of 12. There are such gatherings in other dimensions and other realities as well that align themselves with certain numerological frequencies for a variety of reasons. But also there is a general archetypal understanding to this as part of your collective consciousness that represents your ability to commune with yourself, to guide yourself, to counsel yourself, to understand the big picture of your general patterns within your identity as an individual and your identity as a society, as a planet, as a solar system, as a galaxy, as a universe, as a multidimensional reality. These are the concepts, Council of 9, Council of 12, that by their different frequencies represent interfaces or portals or connective frequency energy nodes that connect you to different perspectives of seeing your reality from different heights, shall we say, different overviews in that sense. So, Council of 9 has a lot to do with the idea of what you would call balances, so on and so forth, seeing into the self, regulating the self, understanding one's own timing, so on and so forth. Councils of 12 have a lot to do with integrational energies, alignment of the total self, higher selves, bigger pictures, so on and so forth. Those kinds of general ideas are what they represent, even though there have been physical representations throughout history and also simultaneously now on your planet on different levels. But the idea is to connect into it archetypally so that you know you are all part of these councils and can utilize this as a part of your collective consciousness to tap into other levels of your being. Because as a total being, you are in that sense truly infinite since you are connected to all that is and the one. Does that make any sense to you in your language?
It does to me.
Now, in historic terms, you have been connected in what you would call Atlantean times, so to speak, and Egyptian times. And you have participated on a variety of different kinds of sociological and political councils that were, in your terms, either dealing with socioeconomics or political agendas or religious agendas. You have experienced a lot of those things, and simply now, in this transformational age, it is time to take them all, integrate them, lump them all together into a sense of one's own discernment, a sense of one's own justice, a sense of one's own balance and guidance, knowing that you are still all surrounded by guides who assist you, but that their main message to you is to guide yourself, to trust yourself, to know that you are primarily your own Council of 9, your own Council of 12. There are a variety of techniques and tools you can utilize to get in touch with these, and we have provided some of these ideas to you as tools to reflect these energies to you. You can get in touch with maybe more easily if you think you need a ritual, but when it all comes right down to it, it's just a matter of getting a broader perspective and keeping one's own counsel and being discerning about what is true for you and seeing the big picture of where energy is going so you can read what is going on in the energy of your present time and see how it might be likely to play out and see what energy is representative of the path that you prefer so that you can align with that, flow with that, and experience the reality that would be a reflection of that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, where, if I may be repetitive so I do understand.
Well, by all means.
That by seeing the energy or the resonance that you are heading down, if you can identify that, that will help you to make your choices much easier.
Yes. Again, we remind you, it is not that we are saying that there is any such thing as a prediction of the future or a sensing of the future, but that there is a sensing of the energy matrix that exists at present, that in its present form might be likely to unfold in a particular way if it doesn't change. getting in touch through your council energy, seen from all the different perspectives archetypally that are represented by the different symbolic council members, which are aspects of your differences within yourself, of your different personality constructs, of your different energy constructs, by conferring with each different council member archetypally, be they represented in the idea of tarot cards, be they represented in the idea of any number of different kinds of tools you could use archetypally or symbolically to represent them, by addressing and conferring with each aspect of your own overall self, you can then between them or among them come to a single view, a single vision of who you really are energetically, and that can aid and assist and guide you like an antenna unerringly in recognizing any energy that is in alignment with the energy of yourself at present. Does that make sense to you? Yes. Does that help illuminate this idea a little bit more clearly for you?
Yes, it does.
So, look to all the different aspects of your personality construct, all the different energy ideas of yourself on the physical and the spiritual and the mental and the causal plane, and have a conference, have a meeting, call a meeting to order of all these different aspects. Let them, through your imagination, your intuition, guide you. Let them put in, as you say, their 2 or 3 cents, or whatever it is you wish to refer to it as, and see what different aspects represent themselves as within your imagination. It is within the imagination that all the councils meet and come together and can give you their advice. But understand that what you're doing is giving it to yourself through making a connection to those ideas and those energy domains.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, thank you. And also another question referring to Horace and Anne. There is another lady out there, Hulda Clark, who has in her book, she calls it a zapper, which also is a zapper, where that is supposed to cleanse the blood, that she has her
Can you more specifically define this idea you call zapper in its technological definition? What is it doing? How is it constructed? What is its intentional purpose?
You're supposed to hold it in your hand, and in a matter of minutes, you hold it, you let go, you hold it, where like an electrical impulse is supposed to go through the body and supposedly heal you of candida, herpes, cancer, all sorts of different diseases.
We perceive that there may be something missing from this particular idea, not that it cannot be effective in certain cases, but we find that it may not necessarily be tuned to have a completely holistic effect, and may be what you would call a hit-or-miss proposition, where it might hit certain frequencies within certain individuals. It may have a profound effect. In other individuals, it may have very little or no effect at all, because it may not have all of the frequencies within it that it needs to have to be representative of what is intended for that to be representative of. So more research and more work may need to be done, and more research may be being done, in that as different individuals experience a different effect and a broad range of effects with that particular idea, it will be seen, if the person who has invented it has insight, it will be seen that more energies, different frequencies, or even perhaps a spectrum of frequencies may need to be added to that idea for it to be more effective.
Would it be better than, like in my case, to go to the Wraith machine?
We will not discuss that at this time.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. What? Choose between you. Then you can be the other. Good day.
Hi, Bashar. The other night, I guess Friday night.
All right, you guessed Friday night.
Yeah, I think it was Friday night.
Guys.
For the first time in dream state, I saw a spaceship.
All right.
And what was different about it was that in the dream state, I was just doing something ordinary. And,
such as?
Oh, I don't know what I was doing.
Oh, all right. So ordinary, you can't even comment.
Right. And then I looked up at the sky, and the sky was there, and then suddenly there was a spaceship. And then
which looked like?
It was circular, with the top and the bottom had a ring of lights around it, and lights around the mid portion. Silver?
Lights? Color
yellow.
of lights?
Yellow.
All?
I thought so, yeah.
All right, continue.
And just that, and then suddenly it was gone. And I thought, oh, that's how they see spaceships. They're always there, but if you have to be on the right frequency to be able to see them.
Many times. They are not always necessarily present, but many times they are, and are simply of a frequency that is beyond the range of your senses. But when you extend your senses, yes, you can see them, even though they may be invisible to most individuals, yes.
And that was it. I mean, that was the whole dream.
All right. Congratulations.
Why are you congratulating me?
On allowing yourself to understand that that is the state represented by what you call the dream state that you need to be on, the frequency domain you need to be on in order to extend your senses in that way. So when you allow physical reality to take on the same kind of quality that you experienced in the dream state, you will blend the idea of the two realities, drop the barriers between them, and be able to see many of the spacecrafts that do in fact exist just beyond your perceptual range now in physical reality as you define it.
Oh, great. Okay. And which leads me to the next question about the idea of choosing what excites you the most at any given moment.
Yes.
Well, like if you want to have a job, I know in my case...
If you want to have a job. Yes. This is going to be good.
Well, you know, sometimes...
You are already starting out with conditional elements. Go ahead.
All right, you're right.
You know where this is heading?
If I think about it, I would figure it out.
Yes.
But I'll just plunge on.
Oh, all right.
Just that getting in the car sometimes, changing my clothes, going to the place where I'm going to do something that excites me a whole lot.
I see you creating segregation.
So the whole event doesn't excite me the most.
Then you, in that sense, are either, what? A, putting definitions into every aspect of the whole event that allow certain aspects to appear to be unexciting, or B, are assuming that it has to be done in a certain way when in fact it could be being done in another way that is representative of the excitement as a whole event. You have to figure out which one you're doing.
Yeah, that's right, because sometimes I do ask myself, it's just my attitude. Because once I'm there, then I'm excited about it.
It's just your definitions. That's why you have the attitude.
Okay.
There is no attitude without definitions first, remember?
Right, but the other aspect of it is that it may not be representative of the best way that I can do it.
Of the most exciting way, you mean?
Yeah, the most exciting way.
That may be so. You have to figure that out. But the idea is that when you look at everything as a whole event, then you will understand that everything you do is a part of the whole event, and not something you have to do in order to get to what you think will be exciting. Causing that kind of separation and segregation is the creation of many steps of processing that you say are not representative of your excitement, so why do that? When you see everything as a whole event, then behaving as if you know that that is so will automatically eliminate things that don't need to be there, if you follow your intuition when it guides you that way. And the things that remain, the necessary things, will be seen in the same light of the same excitement, of the same energy, of the same electricity as the whole event, and they will be fun parts of the whole event as well. Such as getting dressed will be a fun part of the whole event. When you do it in the understanding that it is a part of the whole event, you will do it in the way that allows it to be representative of the excitement of the whole event, instead of placing on it conditions that allow you to do it in a way that's not.
This is perfectly clear.
Thank you. Does that help you?
Yeah, that helps a lot. One last thing is for the last few months I've been working on getting this computer program installed in either my computer or getting a new computer. But it just seems like no matter what I do, the program won't work.
Yes.
The computer thing won't work.
You see a direct analogy here, don't you? The program in you doesn't work.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering.
That says it all, doesn't it? You are dealing with the issue that the programming within yourself is not working for you. Why, therefore, should you not give yourself such a reflection in your outer world?
All right, well, yeah, it seems like it was getting my attention.
Absolutely, it's getting your attention because that's the issue. Exactly what you've just said. Your programming isn't working. So reprogram yourself, and you will find that any program in your outer reality will reflect the reprogramming that you do within yourself. It's that simple.
My program works.
If you start thinking of reality as a mirror, you will see these things more clearly. Wipe the dust off your mirror so you can.
Yeah, but I'm not going to put the expectation that...
I didn't say it had to be an expectation, did I?
No.
Thank you. I just said it's a reflection to put you in touch with the issue, which is you know that your own programming is the issue that's not working. Therefore, whatever it is...
I think I changed it.
You are changing it.
Yes,
yes,
changing it.
You are changing it. And whatever it is that represents the idea of the new program within you will come in whatever reflective way it needs to. It may not necessarily be representative of a literal computer program, but it will be whatever needs to be reflective of the new program you create for yourself and implement.
Yeah, because this is pretty recent.
Oh, all right, if you insist. As recent, perhaps, as right now?
Yes.
Thank you. Does this help you?
Oh, it helps a lot. Thank you.
Thank
Bashar.
you. And the other.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Earlier, I showed the channel a drawing of
Yes.
the dimensions of the first. So then I'm going to put it together and then have Gerald look at it.
You don't have to.
Well, I don't.
You can put it together if you wish. You don't have to
Okay,
do that
great.
either.
Oh, this is exciting.
All right, then do so.
Well, we'll bring one in.
Oh, all right.
Okay, that's all I have right now.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Later. He's later.
Anyone there?
Perfect template
Yep.
that we could all
It's
build
just
one
it's
on.
just the dimension. Yeah, it's the dimension.
It is representative of dimensions that each of you can construct a particular manifesting cone with. Each of you, of course, will find yourself attracted to various ideas, various aspects of this idea according to your own excitement, yes. But in general, yes, it is a template that each of you can use who are excited to do so.
And
yes.
we can thank my uncle for this.
All right,
He did
everyone
this.
thank her uncle.
Yes, we're excited.
You, and then you, number 2. Do you know who you are? Male.
Male.
Thank you. Number 1, good day.
Good day, Bashar. Just wanted to touch on a dream that I had last night.
All right.
Thank you for touching that.
Are you now touched?
I'm touched. I'm touched. I've been touched a long time. But
Yes. But we won't touch on that. For we find that that might be a touchy subject.
My dream was about the stones, all of the stones, and there were many people involved, and we were very busy scurrying around.
Scurrying.
Yeah, scurrying around, and it was sort of, it was very, very busy, and the stones were like, we were moving them, we were, I don't want to say protecting them, but there were other factions that wanted to get to the stones, and we were like, I believe that it was at the end of Atlantis.
All right.
When we were preserving or wanting to pass on the knowledge or something of the stones.
Yes.
And there were the two factions, the ones that didn't want us to do this and the ones of us that were doing it.
All right, and so?
And that is the gist of pretty much what I got.
Yes, and?
I didn't have anything more from the dream, and I just didn't know if there was anything more to it than that, or just at the end of Atlantis when we were working with the stones. And
well, that is a representation, and it
Yeah.
can have physiological, historical truth, but the idea, of course, is it has more as far as you wish to extrapolate it in terms of its relevance to your present circumstance and situation in this incarnation. So what relevance does this have in your present time?
Okay, of the different well, there aren't any factions going on. There's just, the
Oh, really?
stones and
All right, if you believe that there are not in your reality, then in your reality there are not. And
No.
that is well and good.
yes. Oh, yeah, no, there's no...
Then that is a lesson
chaos.
learned that is different than the one you knew in Atlantis.
In Atlantis, yes.
That in your reality now, you are no longer having to be worried about factions.
Yeah.
Because you see your reality more holistically than you did then, and now you know that what you determine is real in your reality is what is real, no matter what's going on around you.
Yes, absolutely.
So thank you.
Well,
That is how you can extrapolate more from it.
yeah, it was a neat dream.
Oh, all right, neat, sloppy, whatever you wish it to be.
It was was neat.
Oh, all right, everything in its place.
Yes, and I'm still working on the, I talked with the gray stone with O, and we're working on still the idea of the brown stone disintegrating. And so
all right, if that's what excites you the most.
Yeah, that's very exciting, the information.
Something else is about to shift in your excitement with regard to the gray stone. We are allowed to give you that warning.
Warning?
Well, you don't have to take it in its negative connotation.
I won't. Okay, well, I can look forward to that then, huh?
No, you can look to it right now.
I'll look to it right now then.
Does this help you?
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I believe that we have been contracted to come here. And one of the things...
Are you talking about the idea of earthly incarnation? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Well, yes, in a sense.
Okay.
You made your own contract, yes, of course.
Right. Okay, more specific, to be specific, that purpose...
Yes.
Okay.
To be yourself. And in being yourself, to be of assistance in aiding and serving in the transformation on your planet now, yes.
Okay. Do we need to search for our spirit guides to help us through that? I mean,
no, they're right with you. What do you have to search for them for? All you have to do is be yourself, and the true self will perceive your guides as often as is necessary, which isn't as often necessarily as you may think. Because remember, a job of a guide is to guide, not push, but guide subtly. And leave it up to you to trust your own instincts as to how to guide yourself. That's the job of a guide, to get you to trust that your own guidance is equal to theirs in many ways. But they will help you. They always help you. But the idea is that as you become, as we said, more of yourself, you will be capable of perceiving the guidance in a variety of ways. But remember that the first doorway is your imagination. The more you allow your imagination to be your own guide, the easier it is for your guides to speak to you through your imagination, because it is easier for them to use whatever's at hand in your reality as a prop, as a synchronicity, to communicate with you very often than it is to simply interrupt your train of thought with what actually sounds like a message from our sponsor. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because they wish the flow to continue. They don't want to interrupt you and have you go necessarily, though sometimes this will happen, but they will not necessarily want you to go, wait a minute, what was that? Stop everything. Thought I heard something. No, they will usually attempt to find a way that flows in your life so that you will just look at the right thing at the right time, overhear the right thing at the right time, so that you can incorporate it automatically, recognize perhaps that it might be a message from a guide, but it won't interrupt the flow of how you can apply the information in your life immediately. You follow?
Yes.
So in that sense, yes, you have agreements and contracts with all of them and with yourself to work together in that sense as friends and family, to be of assistance in this transformational age, yes, because this is why you chose to be where you are right now, because it was going to be so exciting you couldn't stay away.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that address all the situations that you wanted to discuss at this point?
I have one more quick question.
Oh, all right.
Regarding your manic depressive, is
mine?
Well, no, not yours. Not yours. I got caught up. I read your list. You spoke about that once before, and I have a very distinct question.
Oh, all right.
Is it on the right path to get to the trauma itself and look at that rather than being a chemical imbalance and working with the drugs and things of this nature?
It can always be, depending upon how you assess the circumstances, advantageous to approach it from a number of avenues. Because sometimes once something has become ensconced in your reality, it may be causing a physiological, chemical, whatever, psychological reaction that can be used or backtracked in order to be of assistance in getting to the core of what's going on. But any imbalance in that sense starts with some initial traumatic and or belief system definitional experience that has been implanted within the individual, except in very, very rare circumstances where it is a soul path that is being chosen for a very specific reason that the individual would incarnate from the beginning that way. And even sometimes that can be balanced, but very often the soul will choose to maintain the imbalance because it is really exploring something very specific, but that will usually result from birth, although sometimes it will be caused by what you talk about as accidents. But let's just say for now, in 99.99999% of the cases, yes, you will always have to get back to the initial emotional trauma or implantation of information that caused the initial imbalance, but it can be advantageous to also utilize whatever has now become representative of a cycle or a pattern in physical reality and use that as a catalyst to aid and assist in making it easier for an individual to get in touch with the core issue as well. Yes, does that make sense to you? Thank you. You, then you.
Hi, Bashar.
One moment. Is there going to be a 3 over in this direction? This direction? No? All right. Are you sure? All right. Are you having a good time? All right. One moment. What's your favorite dream that you remember?
I was laying on a beach and a helicopter was playing and I was flying alongside of it. And I was reaching up and touching them. And I felt like I could fly along with them.
How long ago did you have this dream?
2 months ago.
And how did you feel when you awoke? What did you think about that dream?
I saw it as a sign of expanding spiritual belief system, that I was growing spiritually. I was getting in touch with a higher sense of myself, my true self.
All right. Do you also understand that you are literally also having communication with other levels of consciousness in that state?
I hadn't thought about it in that aspect, but I can understand that.
All right. Think about it. All right? Pleasant dreams. Number 1.
Hi, Bashar.
To you, good day.
I'd also like to talk to you a little bit about dreams.
Yes. All right. Synchronistic. Thank you.
The last few weeks, my sleep state has been very, very heavy. I've not been bringing a lot back, but I get the feeling I'm doing a lot during the night. And
yes.
I've had
many of you are working overtime in your dream states. Yes.
That's how I feel. And I've had several very different experiences, and the one that I remember the most about a week ago, I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke up very abruptly because someone was shaking me very, very, very hard. And I was thinking, this is just a dream. And then all of a sudden, the shaking kept going, and I thought, this is happening. I had to wake up right now.
Yes.
And when I did, there was no one in the room, but it was so real. I was wondering if you could shed some light on me. I might have been doing that night, or what was happening, or
shed some light. All right.
Was someone trying to tell me something? Give me some input on what was happening.
Yes. What was being done was an attempt to help you catch yourself at a particular moment that, for lack of a better term, would be said to be in between worlds. To wake up into a new reality, rather than recognize that you were waking up in the old reality, which you were not. That particular timing, that moment was chosen because it was auspicious for the idea of you being able to recognize that you literally were not the self you used to be when you went to sleep. You understand this?
Yes.
You are being given an opportunity to feel the difference between the idea of a new self, a truly more expanded, creative, abundant self, and the old self. And you are being shown the exact moments at which you go through a certain frequency shift, frequency domain, at which you land on the proper bandwidth to be representative of the doorway you need to walk through to become truly the future self that you can become in your reality. You follow?
Yes.
So your attention is being drawn to that moment, that frequency, the here, the now. Right here, right now. Be this you. Right here, right now. This is it. This is the frequency you want. This is what will unlock different realities for you. Wake up into this reality, this frequency, right here, right now. Pay attention. Be present. Here it is. That's the signal that you're being given at that moment.
Okay, because something similar happened to that like a couple of days before.
Yes.
It was just a loud knock, knock, knocking.
Yes, well,
And
they
this
are
one,
persistent.
like, really got my attention.
Yes, they are persistent.
Right.
And they will get your attention when you arrive at the proper frequency. You will know it because that is your marker. In a sense, they are helping you give yourself a marker so you can start to feel familiar with that frequency. So you can start to recognize that frequency as the frequency you need to be on when you're awake.
When I'm awake.
Yes. Because in many cases, when you are in your dream state, you're actually much more your true self than when you allow yourself to be physically awake.
Right.
So they're giving you an opportunity to start to recognize the frequency that represents both realities in one. So that your physical life becomes the dream. So that you dream and live simultaneously. So that you live your dream.
Okay.
So that you awaken into a new dream. You understand?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Very much.
And
Thank
pleasant
you.
dreams to you as well.
Thank you.
And I mean right now.
Right now. Great. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about are cats. And that was brought up once this evening and at one of your previous meetings.
Those that can symbolically represent the idea of seeing into more than one dimension at a time.
Now, the reason I brought that up, because I've never really been a cat lover. I like dogs, but it seems like the last couple of months I've been more attracted to them. There's one in my life. Yes, there's one in my life I really truly adore, a male cat that's just very loving and is just there and it's in,
well, that's no accident. You understand.
Well, I'm wondering what they're telling me.
I just told you. We just talked about it. You are beginning to exist where they symbolically live. In between worlds.
And that's what all the dreaming is doing too?
Yes. You are seeing with sharper senses. You are awakening into a new sensory experience of what reality can be, similar to what cats experience in their normal day-to-day waking reality. Why do you think that sometimes the cat on your planet will be sitting there peacefully and suddenly look at something that isn't there? It's because there is something there, but not in your reality. You will soon begin to see the things that are not there in one reality, but are in another. So please don't think you're going crazy.
Well, with regards to that, I would say a lot lately, I haven't seen anything, but I have felt things a lot.
Well, that's a beginning.
And I think somebody's in the room with me, and I go, who's here? And I expect them to say something or materialize so I can see them.
They want you to stretch. They're not going to do anything but meet you halfway. You have to stretch the rest of the way. But that's what they're luring you to do. Yes. So, in a sense, they're saying
to see their reality. What am I supposed to do to really relax to get into that?
Allow yourself to simply become acclimatized to that particular frequency, that feeling, that state of being that existed, that you remember how you felt at that moment when you jolted into awakeness. Okay. That's the state. You understand?
Yes.
So, by allowing themselves to, shall we say, materialize in your reality only just so far, and asking you to come the rest of the way, they are saying, here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Oh, you're cute.
They are also saying this to you. Pay attention, for this is important for you. With regard to other experiences you have had, not necessarily in this life, this is important for you to understand now, most of all in this life. Curiosity will not kill you.
Thank you.
This time.
Thank you. This time.
In this life.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Does that help you?
That helps me a lot.
All right.
Thank you.
Number 2.
Hi, sir. I have one question about the Merlin stone. And what occurred to me is the
Does Merlin have her magic wand?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is the Merlin stone a culmination of the properties of the other stones?
Yes, and something else. Something beyond the stones. Culmination of more than just the stones, but yes. And you are looking in the Merlin stone at a type of council energy.
That was another question.
Yes, well, I answered it for you.
Thank you very much. This all just sort of came to me.
Well, what a shock.
What a shock. Oh my God. Well,
You mean information can just come to you?
Yeah. It's the only way it can, since I don't have a brain.
It's got to be intuition.
Well, now, one moment. That is true. You do not have half a brain. You have two halves, which make a whole.
Bashar. I forgot what I was going to say, so we better pass them all.
What I was going to say was really important, but what I was going to say was I definitely noticed that when you started to push me on the Maryland Stone, I definitely retreated.
Yes, why?
Because I just felt like I wasn't going to meet the mark. But I'm back, and I will try it again.
Oh, all right.
Okay, I'm excited about it again. But I definitely retreated, and I saw that.
All right. And if you retreat again, remember the magic incantation. So what? Yeah. Does that help lighten things up?
Yes, it does.
All right.
Thank you.
Next time. At this timing, we will once again extend to each and every one of you our reminder. Clear the communication lines within yourself and around yourself. Understand by living. Understand by experiencing. Then you will know who you are. But you must be who you are first if you are to have the experience of yourself. Let go. Give yourself permission, forgiveness, whatever it takes to be who you are. I cannot prove it to you. You can only prove it to yourselves. But I can guarantee, because it is the guarantee of creation, that when you do, you will be pure ecstasy in the making. Forever and ever. So be it. Unto you, our unconditional love, and the reflection of the unconditional love of all that is. An exciting, creative, active, alive, dreamlike, effervescent, beautiful, fountainesque. Good day. How did it go? Thank you all very much for being here tonight. Look forward to seeing you again. Have a good night. Thanks. Welcome.